let's say we do that, right? And say, look, Mike, all I can tell you is make sure when you're migrating your data that there are rules, that data is curated on, what's sensitive, what's not sensitive. You really need to know what those policies. You need to know what policy applies to what data. After that, you guys can go nuts.
No, and absolutely. It all starts with understanding what is sensitive data, because again, there's lots of different types of sensitive data, right? Some may be personally identifiable data, some might be healthcare data, some might be your own internal IP. I would
That's
say that
that's all that information is contained in the model, right? If someone
if
had
you,
if
again,
someone
so yeah, so the modeling process would be if you're not clear on that data, and there's a couple ways to look at it. If you're talking to your business people, they will know whether that data is sensitive. And through the modeling process, you would want to document that. Again, it's all about knowing up front and planning, facilitating planning, making sure there's no surprises. So the data modeling process is an excellent place if you've got greenfield data that you've never had in your business before to document that data is sensitive, why it's sensitive, and then that will be their guide to, should we encrypt it? What do we do? Do we mask it? All these different things. Now,
So that's
in a
way
migration,
upstream, and because the rest of this stuff, encryption, access controls, that's downstream. The modeling's upstream, and that is so important. Would that
well,
be a fair analogy?
that's what drives that downstream work. How would you know to encrypt something if you didn't know it was sensitive,
Good. Okay. Okay. Cool.
right?
Okay.
So, but
Is there anything further upstream or
well, data modeling. There will be some capabilities if you're leveraging, things that are enabled by the database, right? So if you're leveraging some, mechanisms that protect data, encrypt data, do things within the database, then the data model can help with that. And because again, your physical model will be specific to that database and will support the different capabilities that it has. If not, the documentation will then, allow you to leverage that. But when you think about your security folks, your governance folks, your GRC folks in the organization, they all want clarity upfront of what data is at risk, because sensitive data by definition is data that's at risk of nefarious, people trying to steal it, trying to lock it down, all sorts of different things. They want clarity into that. They want to understand both post pre-breach and post-breach. Obviously, pre for planning. Post-breach, they want to be able to quickly go to a data model and say, hey, okay, this data was stolen. They can quickly go there and say, holy cow, that's got some really important stuff, and this is going to be bad. Or they're going to say, okay, we're all right here because we did the right things, and they may have stolen some data, but it may be encrypted, or
okay?
it may not be associated.
And I'm thinking with the database migration is where you're going to have these meetings. They're going to want to know who has access to this information while you do the migration.
Yeah, and they want to make sure that the protections are not lost through the
Yeah.
process of
Okay.
migration.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Danny. Much appreciated. Yeah, I'll be in touch again. Thank you.